Anna Freud, the daughter of Sigmund Freud, was born on December 3, 1895. From a young age, she was exposed to psychology and many theories because of her father. In 1901, at the age of 6, she began school at a private elementary school. She was never a big fan of school. She preferred independent learning and her father's teachings. In 1912, Anna graduated from school at the age of 17. In June of 1914, Anna Freud passed an exam to become an apprentice in elementary school teaching. After passing this exam, she went to England and was chaperoned by Leo Kanner, one of her father's patients. In the summer of 1915, she successfully passed her teacher's examination. This opened the door for her career in psychology. After finishing high school and training to become a teacher, Freud traveled to Italy to stay with her grandmother and to England by herself. In 1914, she began teaching at the Cottage Lyceum, the grammar school she attended as a child. In 1922, Freud presented the totality of her analysis to the Vienna Psychoanalytic Society in a paper entitled The Relation of Beating Fantasies to a Daydream. She became a member of the society shortly thereafter and began working with children in a private practice. Within 2 years, she was offered a teaching position at the Vienna Psychoanalytic Training Institute. In 1927, she accepted a position with the International Psychoanalytic Association as secretary, and in 1935 she took over as the director of the Vienna Psychoanalytic Training Institute. The following year, she published The Ego and the Mechanisms of Defense, a book that laid the groundwork for the field of ego psychology and defined Freud as an innovative thinker. Some contributions: Freud discovered that children often require different psychological treatment from adults and emphasized the role that early disruptions in attachment could play in the subsequent development of psychological problems. Her work studying children who had experienced abandonment or extreme neglect laid the foundation for later research into early attachment. Through her work with children, Freud tightened her father's theories, emphasizing that children develop through distinct developmental phases. She also outlined and expanded upon her father's theory of psychological defense mechanisms. In her book, The Ego and the Mechanism of Defense, Freud outlined many defense mechanisms, some of which contemporary psychologists still rely upon, such as repression, projection, displacement, and regression. The legacy she left behind is the Anna Freud National Center for Children and Families has been commissioned by the Department for Education, England's largest research trial of school-based mental health interventions. The Education for Wellbeing programs is working with around 370 mainstream primary and secondary schools across England to evaluate ways of supporting the mental well-being of people. The research will examine the impact of different interventions on mental health and well-being. In 1975, Anna also won the Decoration of Honor for Services to the Republic of Austria award. It is awarded by the Republic of Austria to honor people from Austria and abroad who have rendered great services to the country. Unfortunately, Anna passed away on October 9, 1982, but her theories live on and are still studied and used today.